Hello everybody and welcome to the first annual Cannabis Convention in Nanaimo. It's nice to see such a good turnout. First of all, I want to remind everybody to please turn off their cell phones or at least put it on vibrate so we're distracting everybody. Give me a second. Everybody's appreciated. Okay, so I first have to go over something. I'll give you some context so you kind of understand why we have to enforce this no smoking rule. A concerned Nanaimo citizen sent an email to the RCMP, to the head of every single department, to the communications department, to the president, and everybody pretty much on campus, making some fairly outlandish claims that we are all going to be, every one of you, by the way, was going to have large amounts of cannabis, and you're going to be selling it. And giving it away for free, too. Don't forget that. So, but no, I really hope that the university saw it for what it was. And, but, I mean, yeah, I spoke with the head of security, and they seem to be really respectful of our event. And we're not going to have any problems, but I do ask you to respect the school rules. We don't want to cause any problems. And they were told by the university to call the police if there are any people smoking. So that said, just on a whole other topic, if you need to go off campus for some reason, there's just like a few buildings over there. Okay. Anyway, back on track here. So for our first speaker this afternoon is going to be Mick Mann, who is a local fellow from Port Alberni. He's going to speak about medical cannabis and how to approach your doctor. Yeah, well, let's bring Mick up right now.
Thanks very much for coming. Yes, it's true. I am a licensed user from Health Canada for possession and to grow. And I do have a large amount of cannabis on me, and no, I'm not giving it away or selling it. I get asked a lot about, people ask me, how do I apply for MedPot use, or even where do I find a doctor who will sign my paperwork, even more so. And I always tell people that you have a doctor right now, if you have one, who can sign your papers. You may have to, depending on your ailment, see a specialist, but that's just only to, he doesn't actually have to sign it, he just has to make a point that you've seen one. It still lies with your GP. And if he won't sign your paperwork, you need to ask him why. And if it's simply something like, well, you know, a lot of them don't believe that smoking is an effective way to deal with medicine. So it's up to you to educate your doctor. And we do that by talking about various things like vaporizers, edibles, tinctures, there's salves, you know, and these things, along with, you know, a proactive approach to your health, as in getting proper rest and eating well, and not smoking cigarettes, you know, using alcohol in moderation. All these things, you know, you need to build up a basic, an ongoing deal with your doctor. And take notes all the time of everything that's discussed after the appointment. Give yourself a little time to sit down and make a note and say what the doctor said when you approached him to sign these forms. Another thing to do is follow up continuously with your doctor. Go back and see him in a couple of weeks and explain to him how you're doing better or not so much, and that you're not actually taking pharmaceuticals and how cannabis is helping it. Now, doctors do keep records of everything that goes on in your visit, as you should too. I discussed this with a lawyer now, so while this is not legal advice, but however, my lawyer, and who is Kirk Tussaw, who's quite good in these types of things, has suggested to me that this was okay advice to give. And what it is after you've developed or you've collected 5, 6, 7 visits with your doctor and discussed all the reasons why you won't sign and how cannabis is helping you and so on, it's a good idea to send that application in along with a letter explaining all the different things that were discussed and all the doctors you've seen and all the different appointments you've had. And send that all into Health Canada with your application that's not actually signed by a doctor. Of course, they're not going to give you a permit. However, this gives you a large degree of protection if you are arrested when you go to court and you claim a medical defense. Because when the judge says, what have you done to actually get legal, you will have quite a bit to show. And now what you're doing is putting the onus back on the system to show how this system does not meet the needs of Canadians, and how more and more people aren't getting the permits they need so they can use and grow their medicine without fear of reprisal. Again, this also goes hand in hand with activism, because the more people who actually do this, the more we actually can show and get the media to look at the fact that Health Canada is not up to speed with what the majority of people want. Very similar how they're not working well with, even on the non-medical side, the majority of people would like to see the laws change considerably and not the direction the present government is taking it. With that being said, I got a bit of time. Is there anybody have any questions so far they want to ask? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, do you know of any doctors here that do sign papers fairly regularly?
I don't personally know of any, but again, what I'm stressing is that the doctor you have, you need to work on that doctor. Don't go in with the whole application process. Just take in the basic parts that they need to see and sign the doctor's part. Have the other stuff with you if they need to see it, but really, it's more about why won't they sign? And again, a lot of doctors will sign a Compassion Club form, but they say, well, we don't want to get involved with the government. Make a note of that and send that in and keep the records of all this, because that works to your benefit again to point out how the government is, and this program is a complete failure. Please.
What health conditions would you recommend marijuana use?
Basically, if you have something that's bothering you and you've tried marijuana and it works, anything from a toothache, cramps, anxiety. Yeah, I mean, if you've used marijuana and it's working for something, then I suggest that definitely you continue using it for that purpose.
Is it a painkiller or what? I've never used it myself.
Marijuana isn't exactly a painkiller per se. It's more of a distraction. It helps to take your mind away from it. It also helps to relax you if there's tension, because that will also increase that. And when you're more relaxed and feeling better, that helps to promote the healing process.
It will take out real pain. Like CBD and Phytophthora take away pain for 40 minutes.
Really? Yeah. In some cases, I guess they can.
It's not just a distraction, because it allows more blood and oxygen to get to the tissue.